Welcome, everyone, to the show today. I'm JJ Flazanes, your producer and empowerment strategist. Thank you for downloading today's very special episode. Today is episode number 300 on spirit, purpose, and energy. Now, for those of you that are listening to Fit to Love, I know I'm in the 500s, almost at 600. This is not the most amount of episodes that I have on one particular channel, but it is a very specific, monumental, benchmark for me. And because of today's 300th episode on spirit, purpose, and energy, I decided to ask my empowerment strategist beta certification trainers to come on and discuss with you guys some of the growth that has happened since the start of this show. As most of you know, I started a show called Fit to Love in 2014. And I did not launch Spirit, Purpose, and Energy because of how Fit to Love was going and the fact that I was trying to cram a lot of keywords and very specific teachings under one umbrella and one brand. I released new shows. And the first show that I released into the world as its own new brand was Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, which originally was my Freedom Friday show on the Fit to Love podcast. And when I put Spirit, Purpose, and Energy out into the world, it was October or November of 2016. I literally had zero expectation. So I know we've been talking about manifesting your dreams and how to activate your wishes and law of attraction. And, it's funny, but not funny that the thing that I wanted to talk about the most became the thing that is the most impactful, not only in my life, but in others, and has become the biggest business that I have. And so I put Spirit, Purpose, and Energy out into the world because if you own your own business or you do any kind of marketing, you know that, when you put something out, you create a funnel, you have stuff, you have something to sell somebody, you have a call to action, you have a lead generator, you have something to give people or something to sell them. And I literally had none of that. For Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, I had nothing. And so I literally put all the episodes that I currently at that point in time had up onto this new channel. And I released it and let it go. And I walked away thinking, well, I'm just going to put it there. I don't know. I'll go work on the other shows later because those shows have products. They have books and personal training and coaching and things that I can do with people right now. And, the strangest thing happened. Is it really strange? No, not at all. The strangest thing happened. That was October, November of 2016. And by December, I had people emailing me and saying, oh my God, I needed this. This is changing my life. I am so glad that I found you and I'm now using this and I understand and I'm now manifesting and I need your help. And how do I get more involved? It was like magic. And I thought, oh my God, I had no idea that other people were going to love this podcast, this material, this content as much as I did. And of course, it's the thing I wanted to talk about. So I literally manifested and attracted you guys. And those of you that are on different shows, it's okay. You're still a part of that. And so when I was looking at 300 episodes, and I've been doing so many shows for so long, and I've never celebrated any of them. Other than the launch of some of the shows, I've never said, oh, it's my 100th episode, or, oh, it's my 500th episode, or, oh, it's my 200. The only thing I celebrated was I reached 1 million downloads or 2 million downloads on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. So that's not like me. I celebrate. Part of attracting things, part of manifesting is literally celebrating it as it comes in, milking the good stuff. So here we are, we're going to practice law of attraction today by milking the good stuff. And I'd love to hear from those of you in the audience also. So whether you're in the Inner Circle membership or you're just connected on Instagram or Facebook, after today's show, I want to know from you. I want to know how Spirit, Purpose, and Energy has made an impact in your life. And so, like I said, I brought on some special guests that I have with us today. We're only missing one person from the Empowerment Strategist Beta certification trainers. And I think I'm going to start with Aaron because Aaron Hall, from what I know, has probably been listening to me the longest out of everybody here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the trainers to introduce themselves. And I want to know from you guys so you can tell them your business and what you do. And I'd love to know like how long you've been listening to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, if that's where you started. And then what would you say would be some of the lessons that you've learned or things that you've gained, or how has life changed or shifted for you since finding the show? And I'm, of course, not taking credit, everybody. You guys have to do the work. I put the information out there and then you do the work. And it's that co-creative relationship that we're having that makes it work. So welcome, Erin.
Thank you, JJ. That was, gosh, when you were asking the question of everything we've got from the show, my mind was just like, I could take up this entire podcast talking about all the benefits that I have gotten from spirit, purpose, and energy.
Okay, so let's start with let's give me one or two.
Okay. Well, I think the greatest thing that I have gotten from the show is just taking ownership for my life and the things that happen in my life, the good, the bad, everything in between, and really how empowering that has been. That has translated into no longer being triggered by people in my world that I thought, well, if they just changed the way they were acting or behaving, I wouldn't feel the way I'm feeling. So taking ownership of that and understanding that, I have manifested an amazing relationship. And that has 100% been from applying the different laws of attraction that I've learned and really growing as myself and working through my own issues so that I was attracting at a different level. Just the fact of just attracting on so many levels. My business has grown. The type of clients I'm attracting are much more aligned, and there's much more enjoyment in what I am doing in my business, and it is thriving, and my relationships are thriving, and I see a lot of benefit. And another key thing for me was that in the past, I would have friendships or people who would come to me and it would almost be like this draining feeling. And so I am now able to better separate myself and what I'm experiencing from other people and not being so codependent and enmeshed with them. So those are some of the key ones that stand out for me.
Awesome. And you and I, did we meet through Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, or was that back when it was Fit to Love?
I know you had the 5 shows per week when I found you. I think you did have Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, but I knew you as Fit to Love, and that was, your website, and because I had come to you basically through another podcast of Food Heals. And what I really liked about you is you talked about the whole mind, body, soul aspect to physical fitness and health. And that was really attractive to me. And so that's when I sought you out, and it was pretty much under the Fit to Love podcast.
Yeah, because I believe it was like 2016 that you and I met for the first time, and I got the pleasure to work with Erin in person, because at that time we only lived about an hour away from each other. And so that was really cool. And because I have already met you in person then, and then you had moved and then joined the mastermind, then joined this group. And so, I have the most length of time working with Erin, and knowing that you would periodically email me and tell me how much you enjoyed an episode, or you might share it. And I really appreciated that. Yeah. So I knew you were always listening, because you kept in touch periodically to let me know you were still listening.
Yes, absolutely. I would listen to different ones and just reach out to you, and some of the different things that I was going through in my life. I've just always appreciated the knowledge that I've gained from your podcast. It's by far my favorite podcast. And anytime I listen to other ones, it's like, okay, get to the meat like JJ does. So I appreciate that about you.
I appreciate that you also appreciate that I get to the meat, or that the stories that I do try to tell are in teaching. And I definitely, from my point of view and watching you, especially over this last year, and then since I've met you, have seen also your life transform. And so Erin really gets the prize of, because I've known her the longest at this point of the people that are here today, of really embodying all the teachings and like taking it on your own and watching your life shift. She's got a thriving business, which we're going to talk about here in our second round of questions. So get ready to learn a little bit more about Erin after we introduce you to everybody else. So I think I'm going to move to Wendy next. So Wendy, come on, introduce yourself.
I am Wendy Patterson. I live in Gatineau, Quebec, and have been listening to JJ since 2018 when I was going through a difficult time. I needed a kick in the butt because I was having difficulties with my work, and it had nothing to do with work. Because as I started listening to JJ's podcast and Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, realized that I was creating the whole dysfunctional thing in my work because of some core wounds that needed to be kind of resolved and fixed. And through her Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, I discovered the inner circle, and I also needed a community. And it was, I was on the fence about the inner circle, but I jumped right in, and I'm very, very thankful that I have, because through that inner circle, I also embarked on her Emerging Business Builders. And then shortly after that, I got into her Empowerment Strategist group. So
tell everyone what you think the number one thing that's shifted, or things that others might say are either different or you've moved forward in ways. Is there anything in particular that you could point to?
Yes, I think it's more so around the law of attraction, where I discovered everything that I was thinking. These were stories that I kept telling myself. And as I kept telling those stories and over and over and over and over again, things weren't getting any better because I was stuck in that story. So when listening to your law of attraction and the 30-day manifestations that I've participated on, every single one of them, discovered that it's my old patterns of the stories that I keep telling myself that are occurring. So if I kick myself out of those stories, things get a heck of a lot better because I'm no longer there. I'm living in the moment. I'm dealing with this instant rather than going back in those heavy stories. So switching the thought patterns to a little bit more positive, and it's shifting the whole dialogue and the work environment. So it is much more pleasant to do rather than being in such that horrible space that I was before.
So generally life is happier or easier?
Easier, yes, and happier as it on a daily basis, because it's a continual thing that it's a pattern, an old pattern of mine that has been going on for a long time. So it's kicking myself out of it. So, and I truly have to honestly say, meditating really does help, and it just stops that, and it keeps me in the here and now. And I have learned to do it more often now than ever before. And It has made me a much happier, much better person to be around, because yes, I am way more happier than what I was before. So thank you very much, JJ.
Well, you're very welcome, Wendy. And for those of you that are in the 30-day manifestation challenge, Wendy has led that challenge also. And so you might have seen a video of her in there. I believe our next challenge is in August. So for anyone interested, it's jjflazanes.com/30-day and I may or may not lead it. Libby has also led it, and you'll hear more from her shortly. But I'm going to move to Krista next, because Krista is also, Wendy and Krista are very, very active in the Inner Circle membership. I believe that we had their first call where Wendy wasn't there. And I was like, something feels off. What is going on? Where's Wendy? And you didn't tell me you weren't coming, but that's okay. You don't have to be there every time. But I've gotten very used to some of the regulars who really make a point to show up to the Inner Circle membership group coaching calls. So thank you, Wendy. So Krista, introduce yourself to everybody and let us know, was it Spirit, Purpose, Energy that you found?
It was, yes. I'm Krista Berkling, and I did find Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. I was also going through a kind of a tumultuous time at work. I had actually picked back up on listening to Abraham and Dr. Wayne Dyer and some others in that same genre, but I was feeling actually a little out of control with my manifesting and my spirituality. And I felt a spiritual shift coming, but it felt very out of control. So I was searching, and I stumbled across Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and was immediately so drawn to you and that podcast. And I just binged and I felt so connected. And I also just loved how real you were and how responsive. I think I was immediately messaging you with questions and thinking, oh, she's not going to get back to me. Or maybe one of her, employees will get back to me or something. And just loved how responsive you were answering my questions, and just felt so engaged with you. And so I was very drawn to it, and it just felt more real. And I felt more connected and in control with your podcast.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And what have you seen change in your life since then?
Definitely more of a sense of centeredness. I feel more calm and trusting in the universe. I'm able to approach situations more clearly and more even-headedly, where, in the past I might get more panicked and reactionary, where now I can kind of stay calm and just be more trusting. It's definitely helped in my relationship with my children, and just my drive to find my purpose, really, where before I knew that I wanted to work with people and help people, but I didn't feel like there was a path to it. And then after, your content and your guests and just listening and just feeling like all of these hits, like, yeah, that, yes, that. And so now it kind of I felt like, put me on a path to where I want to go.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to you sharing a little bit more with everybody who's listening about this group and moving forward with what we're doing here in this group. So thank you, Krista. I'm going to ask Libby to share next. Libby also, I believe Libby did the first 30-day manifestation challenge without me, meaning she led it. And because I had asked some people in the group who wanted to lead it, and she was the first to jump on it and said that she wanted to lead it. So Libby, welcome to the show and introduce yourself.
Thanks, JJ. I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, so I first found JJ in early 2019. And just to back it up a little bit about me, in 2008, I attended an Indigenous-based treatment center for addictions. So I had done a lot of great work on myself already. I went back to school, became addictions counselor, rebuilt my life because my addictions did take me to a place of homelessness. I worked really hard to repair relationships in my life, and my life was good. I had a lot of amazing stuff in my life, like my family was surrounded by me. I had, found myself in a career that I enjoyed, working with people. And however, all that great stuff that was happening, I still found myself stuck. And I was looking for a deeper spiritual connection. And also there was stuff showing up in my life and people and circumstances. And I'm like, okay, what is it about me that I'm attracting these circumstances? And when I found JJ and you spoke about the creator of your own reality, and I agreed with that 100%. Yes, I'm creating my own reality. A lot of it's really good, but there's these things that are showing up over and over, and I don't know how to get rid of them. So I remember the more I listened to you, and I just binge listened to your podcast, I downloaded and listened to every book you suggested. I booked that one-on-one session with you, and that's where you gave me the needs and feelings list. And I didn't have a problem identifying the feelings, but it was that extra part where I went, okay, like, what's my need? What's my need? And at first it was very easy. I knew exactly what I needed people to do to make me feel good. And then I quickly realized, okay, that's very victim. It's not empowering. How can I, through the help with you, JJ, the one-on-ones we've had, and I started asking myself, okay, how can I get that need met from myself instead of needing these people to praise me or compliment me or do what I need them to do to me so I can feel worthy. And I started putting that into practice, and I'd come to work and I'd always be looking for approval from my boss or whoever was around me. And one day I just thought, you know what, they're them and they might not ever give it to me. And so I just thought, you know what, I just turned it into myself, started looking at myself. I'm a good worker. These are all the things I'm doing right. And I started getting that need met from myself, and I didn't need it from anyone else. And soon I felt like I was feeling better without their approval. And the less needy I became to get it, then I kind of noticed, hey, they're giving me their approval. This is pretty cool. So yeah, that's just a small part.
Awesome. And I look forward to sharing a little more about your addiction counseling that you're doing. And that's one of the specialties I think that you'll probably take on here as an empowerment strategist, being able to, be in communication with people who may feel more comfortable because maybe depending on where they are in their process, sometimes people like to know that, you've experienced some of the same things because we all have different experiences, and not that we can't cross over and feel into and identify the same feelings and needs. But some people really want to know, hey, I need to know that you've walked in my shoes, or at least similarly. So I appreciate your background and what you are able to offer in this moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to bring on Patty now. Patty is also in the Inner Circle membership. So is Libby. And Patty, Patty, I remember when I did those Get Vocal, I think you and I had you had some free one-on-one sessions pretty much because you were one of 3 people that attended that Get Vocal thing. And I was on a Saturday, or there were Sundays, right? They wanted me to do a super Sunday. And so it became me and Patty having good one-on-one conversations. I knew you were in the membership, but I really got to know you, I feel in those Get Vocals. And I'm so happy that I did. So when did you first find Spirit, Purpose, and Energy?
Well, first, I just want to say, yes, I felt super lucky that day that I had a little alone time with you. I felt honored, but I started listening. I think I searched for natural health. I was listening to a lot of health podcasts, and I ended up finding nutrition and alternative medicine. And then you were speaking, and I thought, wow, I felt a connection. I felt like we were very like-minded, and I felt like there was kind of a sisterhood. So I then switched over to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and I just binged on it for weeks, maybe months, just listening on my way to work, on my way from work, when I was at home doing errands. I just listened all the time, and I feel like I caught up. I've only been listening for maybe a year and a half, but I feel like I've caught probably every single one.
What stood out for you in terms of things you could apply to your life and things that you've seen change or shift? And again, it doesn't have to be an external manifestation. It could be an internal one.
I have really good relationships. I have a really awesome marriage, and I have friends that come to me for advice, but I didn't have the whys to tell them. I couldn't explain to them why my marriage was good. And people comment on our marriage a lot, and I couldn't explain the why. And now I think I feel a little clarity. I feel like I could tell someone else why some of those things happen, and how we are the way we are. And I also feel like for the first time in my life, I have a path to where I want to be. I was studying the natural health and really into it, but there was just something that kept me from jumping into pursuing a certification in health. And then when I heard you, I was like, this is the way. And I joined whatever came around. Actually, when I joined the empowerment strategist, I just couldn't have been more excited and felt more in sync.
Yay. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, you had signed up to possibly join the mastermind, and I know you were on the fence about that, but there was this, when you're working with lots of people, and for those of you that are out there, and again, you have your own business, or even you guys, when, looking at coaching clients and people you're going to work with either now or in the future. And there are times where when people come through, you learn to trust your intuition. And Patty, I had your name on that damn list, and I'm like, Patty, she needs to be in this group, Patty. And I didn't push you, but I was like, I just kept saying, Patty, I know Patty needs to be somewhere. Patty needs. So when I decided to launch this group, and you were like, I'm interested, I'm like, okay, that's where she's going to go. Okay, cool. I know you got to go somewhere. I'm feeling it. Where's it going to be? And I hadn't decided at that point when I was doing the enrollment for the mastermind this past year. I hadn't decided when I was going to launch this empowerment strategist beta group. So yeah, so you get this intuitive hit. So just like you said about confirming, oh, I don't want to do, I want to do that, but something's stopping me. I don't know what it is. And then all of a sudden, when you feel something's in alignment, you're like, yep, okay, now I'm clear. Cool. Thank you, Patty. And now we have Emily. I'm going to bring on Emily to the show. Emily, tell us about yourself and when you started listening, and if it was through Spirit, Purpose, and Energy.
Hi, JJ. Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. I'm thrilled to be here chatting with you today. I did find you through Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. I can't tell you what year it was. I mean, after this year, everything's kind of a blur, but I think I had just gone through my Saturn return, going through a spiritual, I don't know if awakening is the right word, but I was really diving deep into spirituality and trying to learn about myself on a deeper level that I hadn't truly experienced before. And Spirit, Purpose, and Energy was one of the first podcasts that I found. And yeah, I fell in love with you right away. Not only do you have amazing guests, but you are so full of knowledge and tools and information that has been so helpful to my life, and I know many other people's lives. I love how you say at the beginning that, you know, you were like, oh yeah, I'll just put this out there and see what happens. And I'm so grateful that you did, because it really has been like magic. And the things that I've learned through you, I don't know if external manifestations can be really pinpointed, but a lot of internal shifts have happened for me since finding you and hearing what you have to share with us. Awareness of my own patterns. You've shared so many amazing tools that you're right as well when you say that you have to actually do the work. I mean, I probably listened for a good year before I started actually doing the work. And that's a very important key piece for sure. But my communication techniques, my teaching skills, my relationship with people around me, my relationship with myself, and how I view myself in the world, and the reflections that I'm getting back from the mirrors that are the other people in my life. There have been a lot of shifts, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how being a part of this group affects my life, and just how I continue to show up in the world as a result of listening to your podcast.
Thanks, Emily. You are the second person to apply and the second person to join, like right away. And the only reason why you were second is because Wendy is in the Emerging Business Builders group. And so I actually, and I saw her like waiting with bated breath, like, okay, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Because I'm going to do it. Like I already knew I had one person, I had Wendy. And so she joined like right away. And then you were like literally the next person right after I announced it. I remember thinking, and you had such an amazing background in terms of, you know, with voice. And I just had these ideas of what I thought you could bring to the world through this program. And I look forward to share more about that on this next round. But I wanted to say thank you for all those really kind words. And I appreciate all the things that you've said. It's so funny for those of you that aren't in one of my, again, year-long or higher level programs. I do use Marco Polo, which is an app to keep in touch with people in between sessions. And especially in this group, because we're all focused on the same thing, unique to any other group that I'm in, because we're all learning or studying or dealing with or deconstructing or analyzing or processing emotion. Like it's so super specific that there's like a lot of time spent on Marco's. And so I appreciate, especially Emily, you wanting to listen to my show and then come on and tell me. So I don't know that I ever responded to that, Marco, but I'm responding to it now. So I want to just appreciate for a second that this journey has led me here. You know, I craved community. I craved these conversations. I craved depth. Oh my God, depth and intensity of connection and vulnerability. That is what I have craved pretty much my entire life. And the show has been therapeutic for me also, especially when I started it to save my marriage originally. But then as I decided to rebrand and create new shows based on the very specific content, you know, I've heard from many people who I work with that had I not done that, that you wouldn't be here because you wouldn't have found me otherwise. And I know that to be true. I know that Fit to Love did not necessarily show people clearly that law of attraction or intuition, meditation, numerology, astrology, like it wasn't a clear path. So I just think it's another really great law of attraction story to say that I had no expectation. I just literally put it out. I had zero expectation, but I could not be more thrilled. I had no idea that I would be here. I had no idea that I would ever be creating my own certification. I had no idea that I had clients and people listening to me all over the world, forget the country, all over the world, and being able to hear and meet and know and see and watch and experience and to share the kinds of emotions and experiences, and just it feels so good. I mean, good is not a good enough word. It feels like such grounding. It makes you feel alive, like more alive than ever, because you finally have a community of people to reflect back to you. I'm literally creating mini me's. And I hope you guys, I know that Erin doesn't mind me when I call her that, or when I say you're going to be the next mini me, and we're missing Brittany, by the way, and you'll hear Brittany, those of you that are in the inner circle, Brittany's going to be coming on to do a podcast episode in there with Erin and Patty later on. And of course, you're going to know these ladies more and more because they're part of the team. And so it really hit me when I looked at my episode last week and I thought, oh, we're at 298 and then we're at 299. You know what? I'm going to celebrate this 300, and I'm going to celebrate it. And I'm going to celebrate it by bringing you guys on to introduce you to the community now, as you're still in the certification process, because it's beta. And basically beta means I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And we're all figuring it out together. So, and these ladies have decided to jump on board to help me figure it out and to help actualize this idea, because as things are progressing, I'm running out of time and space, and it's a great problem to have. But there's also that trust in, well, geez, who else would I send people to? Because I think, and I could be wrong because I'm more of a leader, I'm not a follower. So I definitely follow certain people in the world and their teachings. Abraham is one of them, but, and let's say Michael Beckwith at Agape and Anita Morjani. And there are people that are out there, Dr. Wayne Dyer, definitely Christian Northrup. But ultimately, if there's other people in my space, like I've met trainers and I've met psychologists and therapists, but I've never met anyone who's done or who is doing sort of the kind of work I'm doing in the way that I'm doing it, which is why I've had to create it. And I love that I'm at that space where I can celebrate that by helping to take other people who've taken the tools that I've used. And by the way, everyone, I didn't come into this like this. This whole podcast journey has literally created me. I had all of the interests and the passions and the whys, but I didn't have the skills or all the tools. I was learning them as I went. We're literally flying the plane as we're building it, or building the plane as we're flying it, right? So, so now what I want to do, because part of the Empowerment Strategist program, and again, we're in beta right now, so we're still figuring out all the kinks and stuff, is going to be that eventually I will not be coaching. I will not be coaching as many people, and I will just be doing groups. So I'll be doing my mastermind groups and this program, and I will be available and I'll be doing my events, but there'll be a time where I won't be coaching as much anymore. And I want to make sure that the people that I am being referred to have someone with similar skill sets and points of view and tools in their toolbox. That's probably the biggest thing. I've said that on the show, and I've heard every single person that I work with in a sort of on a higher level say to me, you have so many tools. And again, tools are tools. Anyone can go get them and buy them at the store. It's, do you know how to use them? And that's part of what we're doing here in this group. So I want to go back, and I want you to share a little bit about why you joined this beta program and what you think you bring to the table, or what that's not a taunting question. That's like a real question. Like everyone in this group, you all know you have a zone of genius when it comes to helping people. And that's why it was a yes for you. Because as I say to everybody, no matter what program it is of mine, especially when it's a commitment like this is, or the mastermind, I said, if it's not a hell yes, if it's not a super strong 100% full body yes, then don't do it. Because I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm creating an invitation, and you're going to take it or you're not, but I want it to be in alignment, because I don't have to convince you that it is. So let's start with Erin. And Erin, just, from my point of view, like I said, I feel like you have I feel like I could turn around and you can be my mini me for so many things, because I feel like you've been on the journey with me. I've watched your life change. I've watched you manifest an amazing relationship. I've watched you transform your health. I've watched you build an amazing business that is so successful that you have a wait list out the door. And so, of course, when you said to me, I think I want to do this, I was like, well, you already have a business. Why do you want to do this? So tell people a little bit about your business, but then why this program, and who do you want to serve, and how do you want to serve them? And what part of you do you know that you come to the table with that is helpful for others, and that you have to do it because you're here?
Well, my background is I'm a brand strategist and a designer. And so I help entrepreneurs feel really proud of their brand. And I do that through cohesive and beautiful design. And also a big part of my business is very much the strategy behind what I'm designing for people. So I do a lot of coaching with my clients because it's about uncovering what is holding them back in their business and helping them to reframe and look at their business differently. So even though I technically offer design services, so much of what I do is the coaching, and it's something that I, like you, can so resonate with my entire life. What I have wanted is deep connection, deep conversations. One thing I've always been told my entire life is, you're so wise, you ask really good questions. And that is the feedback that I get from friends, family, and clients, is you ask really good questions to help me uncover things. And I love doing that. It's fun to me personally in my own life, and have gotten so much from it, because it really, I think you've said this on some of your other podcasts, but like when you realize like, oh, I can create my reality, that was just the let the horses loose. When I wrapped my brain around like, wait, I can create this reality. It was, okay, how can I, and what can I do? And I want to like look at everything. So that's been a passion of mine. I did do a certification for alternative holistic, blanking on the name now, through IAN, integrative health nutrition coach. And so I thought, well, I was going to go the health coaching route, and it wasn't as robust for me as far as what I really wanted to get down to the core issues. And so something I've said many times is, oh, I'd love to do what JJ does. And although I'm very creative and love helping my clients that way, I just saw this as an opportunity. I mean, I told you when I joined the Inner Circle Mastermind group, I said, I don't really care what it is. I just want to work with you and learn from you. And then you announced the certification program. And at first it was like, okay, well, I'm already doing the mastermind. I've got a really successful business. I'm booking out with ease. I mean, I don't do any paid advertising. I really attract my clients. I attract aligned entrepreneurs, wonderful women who want to expand their business. And I love helping them in that process. And so I just really saw this as an opportunity to get to do that on a deeper level, to really help people uncover what is holding them back in their business and in their life. And that's the part that's definitely my zone of genius, is diving deep with people to uncover, and then what are some ways to reframe and also embrace and take action in some areas that are uncomfortable. Because I think a lot of times with so many of my clients, the comment is that they kind of just needed the information fed back to them, parts of themselves that they weren't seeing, and that helped to unlock and uncover. Because I think it can get so easy that's just our normal way of being, that we don't notice our patterns, that we don't see areas that we really excel in, and just being that person that can help people identify those people that are really, hungry for change and wanting to evolve. I mean, I think just self evolution and expansion is just such a fun, exciting, important thing to me in my life. And so it's really exciting to me to have this opportunity to get this training with you in order to be offering that as a service to others.
I sort of want to cap this off with you in the, we're guys not even like fully halfway through the program. But if someone had to say to you, hey, Erin, how's it going? Have you learned anything, or is it valuable? Did you make the right decision? Or what's a surprise to you that you didn't anticipate? What would you say? And you don't have to answer all those questions, just whichever one is the strongest.
What have stood out to me the most? Well, I would have to say that the community and the other women in this group, and getting to, never in my life have I been surrounded by such equal relationships as far as people that I can learn from and grow from, and the way we share information and the little bits that one of us has learned in one area and another in another area. That has been really exciting for me. I know in the mastermind group, I think I even had some pushback on the Marco Polo, like, gosh, I don't have time to keep up with all this. And now I just so look forward to hearing everybody's feedback and just this community. It's like this wealth of experience, and then also a desire to learn and to grow and to be vulnerable together and to walk that out and to get to practice and fine tune those elements to be helping more people in the future. That's probably been, I wasn't expecting it to that degree, but that's really what I'm like, wow, this is just a really impressive group of women, and I'm so honored to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, we're honored to have you, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, Erin. And again, you're going to hear more from these ladies in the future, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to work with them. I will say that we are starting to take case studies in the group. And if you have any desire to be a case study, you can go to jjflazanes.com/case study and fill out an application to be a case study. And it will be recorded. So whether you want to be anonymous or yourself is up to you. But in order to qualify as someone who we would use as a case study, it wouldn't cost you anything, but you would just have to be willing to be on air. So it's not live, it's recorded, so it can be edited. But I just wanted to seed that for you right now, because everyone is going to offer something different. And there's something very powerful about the collective and how people see things. In fact, I mean, at one point I was like, when we were doing a case study, I thought, we should all work on the clients together because it's like every different point of view offers some new thing, and which is all really exciting. But of course, that will not probably be happening unless you're a case study who signs up to be a paid case study for a certain period of time. But let's just start out with jjflazanes.com/case study to apply to have us help you and work out some things in a session. So I'm going to move to Wendy now. And again, Wendy, same format of the question, everybody going forward. What made you do this? What are your gifts and talents in the world that you want to put out there and to help people, like who you would want to serve, and then just your experience thus far in the program?
Okay, well, I'll start off with very similar to Erin, where I started in the holistic world, well, in the energy world. I became a Reiki master. I believe that was between 2006 and 9. And then sometime in 2009, I took a craniosacral session course, the first course, fell in love with it. And I thought perhaps I'd go that route. However, destiny didn't take me there. I jumped in on, I've been working with the federal government for over 20 years now. And I've always been the one people have gone to for advice. I'm a great listener. I've intuitively can discover things in people. It's just always been there. And also I discovered throughout my giving my own advice that I've learned more about myself through that as well. And why did I jump into the Empowerment Strategist group? Well, I wanted to learn more about how your tools worked thoroughly. Since they were always mentioned on the call, I wanted to learn more about myself, to learn more about my core wounds, to kind of learn more about the law of attraction and just how it all kind of meshed in together. And also to learn how to become a better coach. As I've discovered, I've been coaching people for a very long time. And I've just decided to become a coach myself and to learn how to listen for the patterns that the people are doing in their life, and to be able to pull them out and identify them so that they can move forward from it. And also, when you talk about the big leap, or that is something that I would also like to help people through, to discover what their upper limits are and where their zone of genius is and how to kind of move forward from it. But I have to honestly say, I've my intuition when I'm talking to people becomes quite clear to me. And then I'm able to work through their issues intuitively with them. That's how I've been doing it.
So the tools have been helpful, or
Extremely helpful.
Okay. I didn't mean to say they're not helpful, but I guess what level of, for some people that are intuitive or clairvoyant, there's sort of the energy and then there's the structure, right? And that's what I appreciate about the tools, and about, because I also, I think everyone in this group has a certain level of intuition that we work with. And sometimes that's just not enough when we can't formulate like the patterns or the structure or the strategy or the analysis. I know that we don't want to get too in our heads, but at the same time, I think, would you agree that the analysis kind of brings it to a faster point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Especially when you're working with the imago therapy, the imago questions, because you go right back to your childhood and you pull all of that out, and then it's just written down in black and white for people to see. And then it's to work through them and to get beyond it.
Well, you were the first to join, and I could see you waiting. Like, I have to do this. So I appreciate that you're here. And again, as we continue in this program, and we'll be continuing to fine tune where people want to work with different people. So it's not, well, everyone can coach everyone. We want to specialize a little bit more and to niche a little bit more. Just to be clear, we want to niche down so that we can do the best job possible for people. And we want to have the best amount of alignment. So for that, Wendy, thank you.
Thank you, JJ.
Krista, same exact, tell people about you, what your zone of genius is, why you joined this group, who you want to serve, or why you think you have that skill set or that desire to help a certain, kind of person or any person or whatever. And then anything you want to share about the program thus far.
Well, so I studied psychology. But I got to a certain point where I was finding that it was not really the full picture of what I wanted to do with my life. There was some holes in what I was studying. I'm very fascinated by psychology and the human brain and the mind and everything, but I was not seeing it really do what I thought needed to be done to really heal people. So I stopped studying psychology for quite some time and was kind of just trying to figure out where I wanted to go, what my purpose was, everything in that matter. So recently I started thinking about going back, finishing that degree and going in that direction again, but it still just didn't feel right. And I was hearing you talk about the empowerment strategist, and every time you would bring it up, I would just get this big yes, like, oh, I want to do that, and everything about it just sounded so great. But, I, of course, didn't jump in right away, but I started thinking, okay, I want to take psychology in a more holistic direction. And I want to salt and pepper a little of this in and that in and this in. And so I was still kind of holding back and trying to see where I could take it, where I could take my psychology studies. So then at one point, it kind of dawned on me that all of these different modalities that I would need to bring in to really do what I wanted to do with this psychology degree was what you were doing anyways, really. And so I just got this pull to do it. So I originally was not going to do the beta because I was making excuses that the timing wasn't right and this and that, but I just kept getting this strong pull. Like I was almost mourning not being a part of the beta. And so JJ, you called me and we had a talk and you said, I really think you should be in the beta group. And I was like, I was just thinking that too. Let's just go for it. And it was, jumping in with both feet. And it just felt so right because I wanted something where I could help people that approached the whole like mind, body, soul, aspect of everything. And I wasn't so limited by the constructs of psychology.
And I love that, what people don't know about you yet is like right now you're in the middle of a surrogacy or at the end of a surrogacy, and you have 2 boys and you have that background of psychology. And so, I get like you, in fact, didn't you talk about art therapy at some point? And actually that could be part of it, or nature. It was like nature therapy, right?
Yes.
Nature therapy, and which might be a specialty that we lean into with you here in this group to, you know, again, spread out like who do we want to work with, and we're just kind of, again, finding that out. So we're at the beginning, everyone, not at the end. So this is the first time you're going to hear from them, but get used to these ladies because they're going to be around. We may even start another podcast because that's what I need, like a hole in the head. But it could be exciting and fun, and it may happen and it may not. But either way, you will hear about them, and I will be referring to them because at some point I will not be coaching as much or at all. So Krista, thank you so much for sharing that. Libby, so we've already heard a little bit about like your, I guess, I don't say specialty because I don't want to make that your specialty, but it does differentiate your entry point and possibly some language and conditions and people that you might relate more to your story. Is that, where do you want to go beyond that?
Wow. Well, I think it's important to start out like, I didn't just jump into the empowerment strategist certification course. Like looking back to thinking about this now, like when we first connected 2 years ago, almost, like I dove in and I did everything you suggested, like everything. And it started out with joining the 30-day manifestation. You know, I bought the meditation package that you had offered because I wanted to start straight away. You had a deal. I'm like, oh yeah. And I could never sit still for more than 2 minutes to meditate. It was so uncomfortable. And I thought, I'm just going to give this a try. I'm going to do this. I did a vision board, and I had done vision boards before, but I listened to your videos and how really to put in the energy into a vision board. And I put the things there that I wanted in my life. And I continued to do what you suggested. I did the ROAs. You know, after we met, you gave me the homework, like do this big leap homework. And I listened to that. I had already listened to that book, and I listened to it again and did that work with you. And I was able to really identify that I wasn't really sure what my zones of genius was at that time. I think because I still had like a problem with my self-worth or confidence, but I did recognize that I spent far too much time in the things that I wasn't competent in and very incompetent. So I started just putting it out there, asking people at work that I knew were good at these things that I wasn't. Hey, can you do this for me? It's not my thing. I'm spending way too much time doing things that like spreadsheets that I really suck at. And it worked for me sometimes, but still I was responsible to get my job done. And not every time did someone have time to help me. So I began to just sort of feel unmotivated. And I really just had an urge to be more creative. I definitely knew that I needed to create something for me where I'm putting my gifts that God gave me. And the more I worked with you, the more confidence I got. I know I took the astrology course that you offered, and I got so much insight to myself and others. I couldn't believe, like, I used to think, oh, that person is just like, why are they like that? And then when I realized it's just in their stars, it's the way they're made up. And this is why it looks so negative to me. But I really started to accept people for their own personalities and the way they're made up, as well as myself, having compassion for that. I think after the big leap, you had shared on one of your podcasts about Ho'oponopono, and that really spoke to me. I started using it straight away, and I could see the benefits straight away. There was one person that I had issues with at work, and I just kept saying that, thank you for whatever you're teaching me. I love you as a human being, as an equal, as a child of God. And something really weird happened, and we talked it out, and we're good. It was like, wow, this was amazing to me. I loved it so much. I actually took the Ho'oponopono certification course. So I spent a couple months doing that, and I still use it to this day. It's a very valuable tool to me. And it also really ties in well to step 3 of Alcoholics Anonymous. So that was one of them. I guess what was next? I wanted to create something. I'm like, okay, I need to put these gifts to work that God gave me. And then you announced that you're having a the business mastermind, the business builders mastermind. And I'm like, wow, like, how can I make this work? Like, I'm tapped. Like, I only make so much. I have so much money coming in and only so much money coming out. And we had this conversation. And I remember you saying to me, just ask the universe how. And I'm like, okay. So I did. I asked the universe how, and like a couple days later, I got a raise at work. So it's like, oh my God, this is really freaking me out. So I'm like, I knew right there. Okay, yeah, I'm jumping in. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I just knew, like Aaron said, I just wanted to be around you any way I could, like any way I could. And I just knew, like, I felt like I fit, and all the things I was learning, I'm building more self-esteem, more self-worth, compassion for others. I'm like figuring out, okay, how I'm getting my needs and feelings met. I'm joining these groups. I think I've done 3 30-day manifestation challenges. I got my kids on board. They're doing RAs. And the most amazing feeling in the world is when my little 7-year-old granddaughter is leaving me a little voicemail saying how she appreciates her heart and her soul. I'm like, oh my God, you're the perfect child for me. But I'm just like, it's rippling into my family, into my children, and how we're moving from these 5 sensory beings into these multi-sensory beings. And I feel like we're all meant to go there. Like we're meant to evolve. And if we don't evolve, we're stuck. And that's where I was at. I had grown a lot, and I just didn't know how to get to that next level of growth. And you took me there, and you did. And yes, I did the work, but you took me there, and I'm just, I get emotional because it's just really give me so much meaning into my life. And it's really brought my relationship with my children to this next level that I don't know I ever could have got, and it's just amazing to me. And same thing when you announced the empowerment strategy certification course, I'm like, I knew straight away I wanted in, but I'm like, oh my God, again, like, how am I going to come up with this money? And I just like, so I freaking cut out that logo that you sent on the Facebook. I printed it off, I cut it out, and I stuck it on my vision board. And I looked at it every day, and I meditated and I prayed. I'm like, okay, if God wants me here, if this is meant to be, it'll happen. And I remember I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I just knew, and it was the last day, it was the last time. And I think I might have even missed it or been a day late or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't let this slip by. If money's the only thing that's stopping me from getting involved in this, like, I need to recognize that as an upper limit, give that to the universe, and jump in. And that's what I did. And I called you, and I got on the phone, and I'm like, okay, I asked you, how much is that in Canadian dollars? Because US is different. You told me, and I think I had just enough. And then you sent me the link, I clicked it, and I was like, oh my God, it went through. I used up all my overdraft, it didn't matter, and I was just like, and now ever since then, like, every month I'm just like, okay, show me how, universe, show me how. And I keep getting this unexpected money from sources I never even thought were possible. And it's working out. And I just feel so blessed. Like, I'm super pumped. Yeah. And how I want to help others. Well, I think for me, one of my zones of genius is I love getting into the work, figuring out, okay, what are the core wounds? What are they? Like, feeling that stuff, digging it up and feel it to heal it. And, and I didn't realize how kind of stuck there I was. I'm always digging it up, feel it to heal it. And I didn't realize, I guess I was always under the understanding that if I'm still feeling it when I talk about it, that I got some more work to do. So I'm always, working on this. And then, you brought it to my attention. It's like, it doesn't matter how many times you feel or heal that. If you're telling that story, if it's painful, it's painful. So it's always going to be painful. So quit telling that story and start living. And I feel like that's what I've done. So I think the missing piece in the work that I've been doing is, yeah, we can dig it out and we can figure it out and recognize the patterns. And it's like, yes, those things happen. This is why I do the things I do. And this is why I continue to do them. And people who are traumatized have a way to keep recreating that trauma. unless you can, I think, actually decide, okay, you know what, this isn't working for me. And I think it boils down to like what we're used to, their self-worth, right? Like getting past that. And I had that realization, you know, after Clubhouse. So one night Clubhouse is, after doing a night of Clubhouse, just that hour, it rises the vibration. And I'm just like on a high that I've never felt before in my life. And it's scary as hell. And I just wasn't used to it. And a part of me just wanted to, like, it was like so uncomfortable in after a while. And I asked myself, because I started to get anxiety after getting up that high, is this an upper limit? And as soon as I asked myself, it dissipated. It went away, and I was able to just relish in the high. And it was just such a big eye opener for me that we just allow as much good in our life as we feel like we're worth. And just recognizing that and asking myself, acknowledging it, hey, is that, as soon as I acknowledge it, it doesn't give it the power. The power goes away and I can expand. And ultimately, like, there's so much. It's just amazing. Thank you so much.
Libby, I love you. And that was awesome. And I think one of the best things that you just displayed was the courage to trust that things were just going to work out, and you had no idea how they were going to work out. And you still keep stepping into, I'm just going to trust, and I'm just going to trust. And you have embodied so many parts of the training and doing this. And I love how you share, you know, what you're going through and you can identify it. And I think sometimes people get stuck in their own, like, here's what I know. And like you said, this belief of, well, if I feel bad when I say this thing or think about this thing, then I have some feelings to get out about that. And you've been on that train for a while. And I think that probably in tandem with the upper limit, in terms of like that story was pretty strong. And now that we've let that go, like, I think you're just going to see a whole avalanche of new things coming in. So thank you so much for being, I'm so happy. I know when you reached out to do this, I really wanted you in the group. So I appreciate that you have stepped into a trust that is beyond what many people allow themselves in order for you to be here with us, because you are invaluable to this group.
Thanks, JJ.
You're welcome. All right, Patty.
Okay. My background actually started, I studied to be an elementary school teacher, and I studied sociology. And I taught for 5 years, but I was having my 2 older boys during those years, and I decided that I wanted to stay home with them for a while, which led me through so many jobs I couldn't even list them. But I've done a lot of different things, and I've enjoyed a lot of them, but none of them were my zone of genius. And I was always aware of that. So I think that when this came up, my gut just said, yes, that's what you have to do. And I didn't really even know where it was going to lead me, but I knew it was happening. And then COVID was happening, and I have people that I love very much that were in a state of pure fear, and I wasn't there, and I didn't really know why I wasn't there. I think that makes more sense now. But I have a lot of people around me who suffer from anxiety. I have friends that are going through a divorce right now. I have 2 friends in our high school group of friends that passed away recently from cancer. And I wanted to help all of those people. And I didn't feel like I had the tools. I didn't feel like I had the confidence. And that's something that you're really helping me with. Anyone who knows me really well knows that I actually offer advice all the time, and friends call me for advice. But I have that inner, if it's someone that I'm very good friends with, I don't have any problem speaking. But this right now is, I'm going to call it exciting, because you told me that that's a better way to say it, but it's a little terrifying. And I just I had my son telling me how proud he was of me for doing this today. And so there are people who know that I don't have the confidence. I'm getting the confidence. I want the confidence so that I can go to these people when they ask me and I can help them. And I look forward to steering people out of fear and anxiety. And I think I might be the oldest one in this group. So I look forward to helping some people learn those lessons before they get to this age. And I know everyone has to learn things on their own time, and I wouldn't have rushed it. But I just think that it would be great for some younger people to have those tools early on and not have to not suffer, but just to be able to have the tools to work through those things and be happier.
Well, you did great and you're doing great, and no one would know any differently. And I know you keep threatening that all the people that know you the best can't get you to shut up. So we'll test you. We'll test you on that this week in person, by the way. So on the, so I appreciate that you're here, and I knew that there was going to be some path that we would be on together ever since, not just Get Vocal, but when you reached out about the mastermind. And even though you didn't do it, I was like, something's there, something's there. So I'm glad it's here. I'm really glad it's here.
Me too.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks, Patty. Emily, same questions, same things.
All right. So my background, I did my undergraduate degree in psychology as well. And I have also taken mindfulness meditation courses and art therapy courses. I've become a yoga instructor. And then I got into teaching, public school teaching as well. I'm currently a middle school teacher. And most recently, I became the head of education at a voice studio where it's voice acting and singing, but we also empower people to find their authentic voice through energy work and things like that. So I have always been kind of like a background listener of your podcast. This is the first thing I've ever jumped on board with doing. And as soon as you mentioned before, I was the second person to just kind of jump in, and you had never heard from me before. When you introduced this course, I, just like every other person in this room right now, I felt a full body yes. I just felt drawn to it. I immediately applied, and as soon as you accepted me, without hesitation, I went for it with no expectations. I still don't have expectations, although I knew that the material I would learn in this course would not only help my life and the lives of the people around me who I love and am always wanting to help, but also in my teaching career. And I've already started to see the things that I've learned flow through me to the lives of my students. And Patty, you mentioned that you have a hope that people can start to learn these things at a younger age. And I also feel very strongly about that. So any of the tools that I learn, I pass along to my students, whether overtly or subconsciously, throw them into our activities. And I think what I have to offer, even though I'm not 100% sure what my zone of genius is yet, as a teacher, I find that my level of patience has improved quite a bit. I am able to explain something many different times and many different ways, and really truly be able to tell whether someone is grasping a concept or not. And I'm also really good at giving homework. And that's another reason why I joined this course, actually, because sometimes I need to be forced. I need homework. I need someone checking in on me before I actually do work. I'm a big time procrastinator, a terrible student, but I have been doing the homework, and I've seen the benefits already. So I hope to pass that on to anyone I have the privilege of working with. And after the homework has been completed, the consolidation piece, I think I could really be good at bringing everything together, tying in the lessons, allowing people to understand their own patterns and take this work and use it in their own lives to thrive. And so while I maintain no expectations, anyone that I am able to help, I would be thrilled to do so.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Emily, in terms of, right, you're like sort of quietly listening and then jumping full on. And that's a little bit of Leo in you. You were waiting for it to be like the absolute right fit. So I appreciate the commitment to yourself and understanding and knowing that you needed to jump in to commit, and that the commitment would give you accountability, and the accountability was really for you. And then taking that and I see when all of you applied and then joined, I really in my mind had already kind of ideas about where you all would be unique in what you could offer. So I know we haven't gotten to that piece yet in this training that will cover that and sort of bring that out in you. But just know that I've talked to you about it, but I have that idea really. So anyway, more from Emily as we continue on. I'm going to bring Krista back in one more time, but I just want to mention that most of these ladies, I think we're only going to be missing one, but most of these ladies will also be present at the Manifestation Bootcamp. So if you feel called, if you're interested in working with any of them, or working with the Empowerment Strategist program and matching and trying out people, maybe being a case study. Again, we can start there. If you want to go to jjflazanes.com/case study to apply to be a case study, but you'll get to meet them in person if you're coming. And I would really recommend, in when I used to go to Agape live, because it was live, there would be people like spiritual practitioners that would like anchor and hold the room and hold the space for the room. And I feel like the Empowerment Strategist trainers are going to be holding the space for the room to elevate past anyone's limiting beliefs and really break all kinds of upper limits for everybody, because you're hearing it here. And again, they're not even halfway through the course yet. They're not halfway through the certification. We don't know what that means exactly, but you're really here. You're really seeing it in process. So Krista, come back on and share with everybody what you are thinking.
Well, I just wanted to speak to just some of the things that have been so rewarding about the Empowerment Strategist certification for me so far, even just to this point. And one of them, like Erin had said, is just being surrounded by this amazing group of ladies. But it really has given me the confidence in our group meetings, especially, to like show me the skills that I actually have and validate, what I've known about myself for a long time. Like many of us in this group, we've always been those people that our friends and family and even strangers come to and just trust us with information that they're not telling other people, and, asking for our advice and, saying, oh my gosh, that was so helpful. And I never thought of it that way. And wow, you're able to see so many things that I wasn't able to see about myself. But this is, while I knew I was drawn to this and I knew I wanted to, be a part of something that you did, JJ, this has really shown me that I do have the skills, that I do have the ability to take this farther. And I think that's what a lot of us have been getting for this. And those group calls and the one-on-ones that we're having with each other are really just furthering a lot of this. And just, it shows me that I'm on the right path and that we're all, doing what we came here to do, which is just so amazing.
Well, thanks, Krista. All right, everybody. So if you want to know more about these ladies and you want to come meet them and have them help you for free, just being a case study to get this party started, jjflazanes.com/case study. Also, bootcamp. Come to the bootcamp. There's going to be limited seats because I can only put so many people there. You can buy a virtual ticket if you want to be able to do it on your own after it's over. But if you want to hang out and meet these ladies and vibrate with them and let them help you break upper limits, I'd invite you to go to jjflazanes.com/bootcamp, because there won't be another live event for another year and a half. So please join us. Everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you that are listening more than you know. You have helped me to heal many things. And hopefully this show and this community has served you well. And I invite you to join us at another level of the community in any way that's comfortable for you. Plenty of things to offer. Reach out. We love you. Thank you so much. And yay for 300 episodes. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week.